for some of your kids, writing can be a bit of a challenge, and I wanted to share some ways where you can incorporate a little bit of fun in writing. But before we get really into it, I just want to let you know that this is a collaboration, a homeschool collaboration with Abby from Rooted in Rest and Jessica from the Walnut Way. Make sure you subscribe to their channels and check out that playlist down below to see what other homeschool moms suggest to make writing a little bit more fun. All right, so the first thing I suggest that you do is read. Read to your kids. Read. Let them read aloud. You read out loud to them. They read independently on their own. Just reading really helps with writing because you get to see the way words connect and how they flow, and you get to see the grammar and you get to see the ideas, and they can even like influence your writing and maybe like, oh, like I want to write a story similar to something I read before. So read. So next I recommend that you teach your kids about storytelling, and storytelling is a lot of fun to learn about. If you heard of the hero's journey, which I'm assuming most people have, and just like have your kids listen when you're reading a story or like watching a movie. You can kind of break down a story in some sense, and that's a great way of teaching your child how to write, especially how to write effectively, is to teach them storytelling, because everyone loves a story. There's a book out there about the hero's journey. It's for kids, and I have it, and I tried looking for it, but I couldn't find it. But I will leave a link down below so that you can check out that book. My son read it when we did a deep dive on the hero's journey, and if you're interested in learning more about our deep dive, then let me know down in the comments below. I'd love to share more with you what our deep dives are and the resources that we used, etc. So just let me know down in the comments. Create an inspiring writing space, somewhere where they can just relax and write. It's like their own space. They can have their own pictures, their own vision board to inspire them, their own books, whatever. Just have their own space to write, because that will relax them a lot and make them feel comfortable in writing. No one wants to sit at the kitchen table. Maybe some people do, but when I write, I don't sit at my desk or the table. I like to be nice and comfy where I'm writing. So next is kind of like it's kind of double whammy here. Consider using alternative writing utensils or medium, I guess you would say. I'm not too sure. Like use colorful pens and use markers and crayons and colorful paper. No one says that your child's writing has to be done in a notebook and a white piece of paper with beautiful like calligraphy kind of handwriting. Just have them have fun. It's kind of makes it exciting and makes it fun if you're using something else. And you don't have to write on paper. You can have your child, if you're into technology, you can have them type. I know my oldest son, he prefers typing because it's easier for him to get his words out, whereas writing is a little bit more challenging for him. And then like my little ones, they like to write outside. They like to use chalk and to write stories outside on the sidewalks for our neighbors when they're walking their dogs, they can read. So just consider writing in an alternative manner. They do not have to write traditionally in a notebook with a pencil or pen. Do something a little different. Spice it up. I'm trying to do laundry while I'm doing this at the same time. You can multitask, but you cannot multi-focus. So folding laundry is something I can do while talking to you guys, because I've been folding laundry since I was a little kid. So my brain just knows what to do without even thinking. Next is to lean into your kids' interests. Like, I don't know about you. When I was in school, I hated the teacher gave us a writing assignment and we had to write what he wanted us to write. It was just so boring. And it's much more interesting if you can write something that you enjoy writing about or you're interested in, because you're gonna be a better writer. And same with your kids. Your kids will be a better writer if they can write about something that they're into. I recommend that you lean into their interests, brainstorm what they're into, what they like, and have them write about that. And then next is to consider like having a family writing workshop night or something where you all get together and you brainstorm ideas and you draft it out and you trade papers and have everyone read what each other wrote. And to be honest, you want your kids to be a good writer, you need to be writing too. They have to see you write. So get in on the game with them. Is that how you say get in on the game, get in the game with them? Get in the game with them. I'm not good with those idioms. And then next you want to try like writing games or exercises. Free writing is great. If you're not too familiar with free writing, check out Brave Writer's website. They got a lot of info on free writing. They have free write Fridays or something like that. So definitely check that out. Writing prompts or journal prompts. Those are great. Write from pictures. So, you know, getting like a photograph or looking at a magazine and looking at the photograph and really looking at it and analyzing it and seeing all the details, and then write a story from that. That is a really great idea to do. Either like do a storyboard, like as if you're filming a movie or something, or making a comic book, you know, drawing pictures along with your story. That's a great way, especially for those creative visual types that like to draw. Writing poetry, it's short form writing basically, right? So instead of writing some long-winded essay or what have you, write poetry. This is something my son really likes to do, is to really develop his characters. There's really, like, he'll create a character and create their backstory basically, but he hasn't put it into that character into a story yet, but he's created a backstory for all of these different characters. Like Mad Libs. Mad Libs are awesome to do. You're learning grammar there, but then also you can take it to the next level where you can have your kids create their own Mad Libs. So they're basically writing a story and just eliminating different, you know, nouns, verbs, adjectives, what have you. So Mad Libs are great. Also story cubes, if you've seen those. They're like dice with like pictures on it, and you roll it and you can create a story based on that. We used to take it, or we still do. Well, I don't know. I lost them. So I don't have them in my purse, but I used to carry them in my purse all the time. And whenever we would like go out to eat or just have some downtime, we would roll the dice and create stories. And so that is another great way of getting the juices flowing for writing. And then also there's chain stories where you just kind of, you start out, one person writes a sentence and then you give it to the next person and they write the next sentence, and just kind of on and on like that. You could also do paragraphs instead of sentences. There's just a lot of different ways you can go about it. And I gotta take my son to his art class right now. Actually, we gotta drop off donations and then we're gonna go to his art class. So if you don't mind, I need to take this video on the road. I think next is that you should get your kids to write with purpose. So writing with purpose would be like writing a letter to a pen pal or a family member, writing postcards, or what else? Creating a blog and publishing it regularly. Like have your kids start a blog about something that interests them. Writing thank you cards and birthday cards and Christmas cards and all of that stuff. Writing a book review, or like a, you know, instead of a book report, write a book review, like movie review, like even a game review. That would be awesome too. Writing directions, writing lists. There's a lot of like different writing activities that you can do with your kids that have purpose. And it's not creative writing, it's not structured writing, but it's still writing with a purpose. So another activity you can do is rewrite a story. Have your kids rewrite a story, and you know, like a famous story, or like a fairy tale, or like a fable, or you know, just maybe even a story that you read before. Have your kid rewrite it in their own words, and they can change the characters how they see fit. They can change the story how they see fit. But you know, it kind of gives them a start on what to write rather than trying to come up with an idea out of your head. And then you can also do something like interactive, like creating a scrapbook or an art journal or like nature journaling. If you're into that, is, you know, that makes writing a little bit more interactive. Writing, you're including pictures, etc. in it. So it's just, you know, a more non-traditional, I guess it's a non-traditional way of incorporating writing into your homeschool. So make it interactive, make it fun. And then I also recommend that you break up writing time. Like, you don't have to have a large block of time set up for writing. You can break it up. It can be like, you know, 5 minutes here and there throughout the day or what have you. It doesn't need to be, we're going to spend an hour a day writing. Like, no, that's going to be an hour wasted. Trust me on this. Instead, break up the time, you know, use a timer if you need to for your kids. You know, like if you're free writing, so say like, hey, we're just going to write for 5 minutes. and you just write whatever for 5 minutes. Don't make it a big chunk of time, especially if your child is struggling. More time is not going to equal better result. Trust me, it's not going to equal better result. Also, like, don't edit or critique your child's writing. Like, not yet. Like, maybe when you're teaching structure, then you can do that. But right now, when you're just trying to find that writer's voice, don't critique them. Just let them get it all out. Let them get all that onto paper, because that's the hardest thing about writing. It's not the structure, because you can learn writing structure and grammar and all that rather quickly. But learning how to find your voice and getting all of those ideas out on paper and organizing those ideas, that is the hard part. The structure of it is quite easy. And so once you have your child find their writer's voice and they're able to get, what's in their head out onto paper and they feel comfortable writing, etc., then you can start introducing like grammar and structure and all that. And then when you're introducing that, then you can critique and edit. Maybe more edit and not critique. Which kind of brings me to the next thing, which is you can just hire it out. Like, you don't have to teach writing. There are a lot of online writing programs, like Night Zookeeper is what we're currently using. And then my oldest son, he's going to be aging out of that. So I think we're going to be doing, Brave Writer has a lot of online courses. And so we're probably going to do that with him next year. And then also, like, look in your community, maybe there's like a tutor that you could hire that can teach writing to your child, or maybe there's some other family member that loves writing that could teach writing to your child. So you do not need to teach it if it stresses you out that much. Hire someone else to help you. It's worth it, trust me. And especially if you do like an online program, they're really reasonable. They have reasonable rates for homeschoolers. So writing is an important skill to have. It's an important skill to learn. But like I said before, it's really important that kids find their writer's voice first before you really get into that structure. Because, I used to be a teacher, and so many of my students had a hard time writing because they never found their voice. They were always too concerned about the structure that they couldn't get their ideas down. And that is the most important part. If you have no ideas, then you're not going to be able to write. So you need to get all those ideas out onto paper. Homeschooling should be an enjoyable experience for both you and your kids. You both should be wanting to do it. And if something is a stressor or is it's difficult or sticky or whatever you want to call it, then figure out ways where it doesn't have to be hard. Because it doesn't have to be hard. I will see you guys in the next video. Ciao.